You can appeal your Maryland real property assessment tax on your own in 3 simple steps. The first is submit the easy petition form by January 2nd, 2014. The second is present supporting documents. And the third, if you are right that your tax assessment is too high, then persist until you win. If your informed opinion is that your tax assessment is too high, then appeal your tax assessment. It's not very difficult and at all to submit an appeal. Here's a link to the state's website describing the appeal process. You can find your 2014 tax assessment on the assessor's website. Here's a link to that. And you can check your actual tax bill on your county or city site. For example, here's a link to the Baltimore City real property tax search. Step number 1, you commence the appeal by filing the petition for review of real property by January 2nd, 2014. Here's a link to that document. It's a simple document. It's 1 page. If you do nothing else, then complete this petition and send it in by January 2nd, 2014. If you don't attach anything else to the form, then request a hearing. In other words, if you don't have the supporting documentation for what you say the value should be, then request a hearing. This way, you can offer the supporting documentation at the hearing. There's nothing difficult about this form. You don't have to be an attorney, you don't have to be a real estate professional, an appraiser, or have any experience appealing property tax assessments. Just fill it out and send it in. The toughest questions on the form are: 1, why do you think the property assessment is wrong? And 2, how much do you think the property assessment should be? Yes, ideally, you will have done your homework and you will have a very detailed explanation for exactly how much you think the assessment should be. But if you don't have that sort of detail yet, then make honest estimates. For example, the assessment is incorrect because I think houses like mine are selling for less than the current assessment for my property. Then offer your opinion of the value of the current value to the best of your ability. So then, of course, you have to plan on doing some homework to better support and offer a better informed opinion of the value of your property, but you have the weeks before your hearing to get that done. So no matter what, no matter if your opinion is that your assessment is too high, if right now you feel like the state's assessment of your property is too high, then fill out the 1 page, the petition to review real property, and deliver that petition to the state by email or by mail, or hand deliver it or fax it to them by January 2nd of 2014. Okay, and page 2 and 3 of the link that is here and that I gave you previously, page 2 and 3 of that shows what the address is, email, fax, and the land address, the physical address of the assessor for the jurisdiction that your property is in. So step number 1 was submit the document, submit the petition, submit the petition. It's that simple. Submit the petition, step 1. Step 2, submit supporting documentation. Now you can either submit that supporting documentation with the petition and you can submit it at your hearing, or you can submit just the petition for review now, and then later for your hearing you are going to bring and submit the documentation that supports your opinion of the value. Now, if you don't have supporting documentation ready for January 2nd, 2014, and I'm repeating myself, this is important. If you don't have supporting documentation ready for January 2nd when that petition is due, then you can still send in that petition. You still must send in that petition by January 2nd, 2014. And on that petition, check the box, check the little line that says schedule a date to appear for a hearing, and the state will get in touch with you to schedule a date or to give you a date where you can appear for a hearing. Okay, and then you get your documentation together in the weeks or months before your hearing. Now, if your supporting documentation is ready now, then by all means submit it now with the petition, and now you can decide whether or not you also want to appear for a hearing. The mechanism or tool that the assessment office uses to determine the assessed value of your property, it has limitations. That mechanism, the way that they assess your property, has limitations. Those limitations can create huge differences or small differences, but they can create huge differences between the tax assessor's valuation of your property and a market valuation for your property that uses more reliable methods. Now, the assessor's tool generalizes from broad market data to determine a value for homes like yours. They do that because they can't go out and send somebody to do an appraisal of everybody's house. So, the assessor has never entered your house and may have a wrong valuation of your property. A staff appraiser may have driven by your property and they may have noted some visible improvements that they can see from the outside. Now, your advantage, the advantage that you have as you file the appeal, is that you know the condition of the inside and the outside of your property, and you can present market data that is more carefully tailored to your property and the market your property is within. The assessor's in a difficult position. They have to assess everybody. They can't do a full, detailed market appraisal for everybody, so they have to come up with a formula or a system or a methodology that gives them an assessment for every house, even though they've never been inside of it. So they know that there are going to be problems, and that's why they give you the ability to appeal your tax. So with this appeal, your job is to provide the assessor these details, these specifics about your property, and to provide them a better look at the real estate market that homes like yours are competing within. So, of course, you can pay professionals for the supporting documentation for your appeal. So, for example, you can pay a licensed appraiser with experience in your area to prepare a full appraisal report, but you can also choose not to. If you do nothing else, then you should at least consider providing the assessor the following no-cost and or low-cost items. And there have been successful appeals that have been done with exactly these methods. So the first thing that you can give the assessor is a property condition survey. You're going to use a form or a format of your choice. You're going to give the assessment office pertinent information about the condition of your property. If you don't have any sense of what sorts of things would make a difference as far as the value of your property, but I imagine that you do, then give the assessor as much information as you can about the property. If there are problems, issues, defects, leaks, breaks, tears, cracks, etc., then let the assessor know so that the final determination of the value of your home takes those issues into consideration. So we have a form that you can add to or subtract from in order to give the assessment office all of the information you want them to have. It's not an official form. It's not a suggested form. It's just a form that you can add to or subtract from so that you give the assessor the information that you think that they should have. Pictures of the property. Take pictures of the features and the condition of the property, of your home, and take pictures that you think give the assessor a better sense of your home's worth. Now, if there are problems, issues, defects, leaks, breaks, tears, cracks, etc., then let the assessor see those so that the final determination of the value of your home takes those issues into consideration. If you have an old kitchen, show them that you have an old kitchen. If you have a wet basement, show them that you have a wet basement. If there's mold or any sort of problem with the house, let them see that. So we've attached a form that you can use. It's a simple little form, and you can add to it or subtract from it. It's not an official form. It's not a suggested form. It's just a form, but you can use any form or any format that you want in order to give the assessment office all of the visual evidence that you want them to have as they determine the right assessed value for your property, which the courts have said must be a fair market valuation of your property. Now, the last thing that you need to provide to the state to the assessor's office is a market snapshot or a market analysis showing what homes like yours in your area have sold for over the last 6 months, over the last 180 days. That valuation, that market snapshot, that analysis can be from a real estate agent, or you can go into Zillow, to Trulia.com, Realtor.com, mrishomes.com, or any similar free website, and find a market analysis, a market snapshot, a way to print out similar homes that have sold over the last 6 months. Now, best ask a real estate agent to provide you with details of the sold properties in your market over the last 6 months. The more you can show them homes that are just like yours, the better. Some agents will gladly do this for you, especially if they know that you have been or that you might become their client or customer in a sales transaction. Tell them why you need this, and very likely they will provide it for you. Now, if you're going to ask the agent to work for free with the hope of them getting, with their hope of getting future business from you, then be prepared with pictures and a property condition survey for them so that you can make the job as easy for them as possible. Now, you may not be able to, and if you cannot find a qualified agent with expertise in your area who will do this market analysis, market snapshot um, at no cost, then find a qualified expert to do it at a reasonable low cost. I'll give you an example. Agents do broker's price opinions for between $50 and $75, and there's some agents who do these things all week long. So a local agent who knows your market, who knows it well, they should be able to provide you something very helpful in short order, in no time at all, and at no great cost. Real estate agents, now, they cannot and they should not say that they are offering you a valuation or an appraisal of the home. And that's because they're not licensed to do appraisals or to give valuations of property. But they can certainly provide an opinion of the right price if you were to market your property. That's if they've seen it or if they have detailed information about the property. But in any event, they can certainly give you a snapshot and or an analysis of the market for homes like yours. Just tell them what your home is like. They'll go in and see the market for that house, that type of home, and they can print out for you, they can provide for you a snapshot or an analysis of homes like yours that have sold. Then you can make an assertion of your home's value when you compare its features and condition to the sales in the market as provided or as seen in the summary that was provided to you by the real estate professional. So, step 2 was you are going to submit supporting documentation. If you don't get an appraisal done, if you don't hire a professional to provide that documentation for you, then you're going to provide to the state a property condition survey, pictures of the property, things that the assessor can take into account as they decide how your property should be valued, and a market snapshot or a market analysis, preferably from a licensed real estate agent with an expertise in your area that shows what homes like yours in your area have sold for over the last 180 days. The third step is to persist. If you are denied at the first level of the process, this is called the supervisor's level. If you are denied, if they don't agree with your opinion that the value of the house has been overly stated by the assessment, then you can request a hearing at the board level, the next higher level. And then if you don't win at the board level, you can take it to the tax court. Now, if you want or need help, then you can add professionals to your team at almost any point. And I said earlier, you can start by just sending in the petition. You can send in stuff that you create yourself, that you get for free online, or that you get at very low cost from a licensed real estate agent. But at any time in the process, you can decide to add a professional to your team at almost any point. You can have them go with you to the first hearing. You can have them go with you to the board level hearing. You can have a person go with you to the tax court. You can hire an attorney, an appraiser, a real estate agent, whatever you choose. Now, there are local nonprofit housing agencies who may be able to connect you to local experts who can help you with the market data that we talked about. Those experts might be able to help you with digital photography, taking pictures of the house if that's a challenge for you, and they may be willing to accompany you to the hearing or help you prepare for the hearing or hearings at little or no cost. Some housing agencies are adding tax appeal awareness to their financial fitness curriculum. Why? Well, because inflated tax assessments negatively affect the health of family budgets and the health of local real estate markets which these agencies serve. I mean, imagine your your income is low or your income has decreased. You're struggling with a mortgage, and part of your struggle is you're paying $300 a month in taxes because your assessment is here, whereas you could be paying $150 a month if your assessment were properly here. So these are important issues that affect communities and affect families and individuals. So the housing agencies are taking very seriously the role that they might play in helping people to assure that the state has their tax at a fair tax, a tax that represents the fair market value of their property. All right. I hope this has been helpful. I should disclaim or disclose that I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Maryland. I don't do this as a licensed real estate agent. I provide this information because I think that it's a really important thing that people need. Um, but nonetheless, I must disclose that I'm a licensed real estate agent and I'm not an assessor. I have never been an assessor. I'm not an appraiser. I have never been an appraiser. I have no specific expertise in this particular matter, except that I've helped people successfully appeal their taxes. And I think that everyone should know how simple it can be, how simple, how straightforward the process can be. Okay, Roger Hughes, D.E. Hughes Realty Company, 443-506-0656 is my cell phone. 410-435-4556 is the office number. Not an advertisement, just a disclosure.